All right, guys. Well, I'm home. My hunt's all done. And what I want to do is I want to get my squirrel prepared to be able to cook it up. So what I'm going to do, now I'm no gourmet chef or anything like that, and I've seen a lot of people cook squirrel in different ways. I've seen stuff on YouTube. So I'm going to kind of combine some things that I've seen and maybe something I think I might like. We're going to give it a try. So we've got one squirrel here. I've got it all clean and skinned, washed it off, got as much of the hair and that off of it as I could. I think I got all the BBs out before I actually do the cooking part, and I take the squirrel and quarter it up. I'll make sure all the BBs are out of it. But what I want to do is, now that I've got it all cleaned up, I'm going to do a little bit of seasoning with it, and then I'm going to vacuum seal this squirrel, and I'm going to let it age for about a week. And then I'll come back after that week and we'll do the preparation and how we cook it and enjoy it. So I've got a couple different things here. I like garlic with a lot of stuff, so we're going to put garlic powder on here. Now some of you might not prefer that, but I just think garlic powder or fresh garlic helps wild game in that aging and curing process. So we're just going to put it all over this and get down in there because we want everything to season really well. And the thing is, when you vacuum seal, that's going to draw a lot of those seasonings in as well. So that'll make a big difference for you. Okay, so that's enough garlic. I'm pretty liberal with the garlic. I like it. And then we've got some Cancooker. This is just an original seasoning salt. It's all natural. So we're going to put a little bit of that on there too. And that'll give us a little bit of a flavor. Perfect. All right, so now we're going to head over to the vacuum sealer, and we're going to get it vacuum sealed. Okay, so I've got I just cut and I sealed one end of my vacuum seal bag. So we're going to just take our squirrel and we're going to put our squirrel into the bag. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and vacuum seal. We have our squirrel seasoned and vacuum sealed in a airtight bag. Now the reason you want to vacuum seal this if you're going to be aging a squirrel is it keeps the air out of it, so you're not going to have any bacteria or anything that's going to help either spoil it or ruin the taste. So by vacuum sealing it, it's protecting it from any kind of bacteria, and then it's also going to draw those seasonings in that you put over it, the garlic powder and the Cancooker Original. And then we're going to let this sit now in the refrigerator for about 7 days or so, and then I'm going to pull it out. I'm going to share with you how I prepare it. Okay guys, well, welcome back. It's been 7 days now since I went out and was doing a little squirrel hunting and got that squirrel. So here's our squirrel right here. What I did was, like I showed you, I seasoned it with some Cancooker Original Seasoning and some garlic powder, and then vacuum sealed it, and it's been aging in the refrigerator for 7 days. So today, now that we're 7 days into the aging process, we're going to prepare this. And the way I'm going to prepare this today is we're going to do a little bit of a deep fry. So what I'm going to get started with is I've got a small onion here. I'm going to dice this onion up. We're going to put that in the pan over here on the stove with the oil and kind of get that going nice and slow. Let these onions cook down. It's going to flavor the oil a little bit, and then we'll prepare everything else that we're going to be using. So I'm just going to take one of my Raptor razor knives here, and we're just going to dice these up. We don't want them really small, so we're just going to cut them into bigger chunks, just like that. Okay, and then we'll cut each of them in half, just like so. All right, and then that's all there is to that. And then I'm going to take them over and we'll put them in the frying pan with the oil, and we'll get that going in just a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put the onion down into the pan just like this. We'll set our cutting dish off to the side. I'm just going to break these up some, and they'll cook down once you get the oil in there. Now the oil in there. So we're just going to use some pure canola oil. And I'm going to fill that pan about a quarter of the way. So we have a good base there. We don't want it really, really deep, but we just want a good base there. So when we're ready to start cooking, this will heat, and we're going to heat it slow. So our squirrel, when it's in here doing a little bit of a deep fry, is going to cook nice and slow. So I'm going to put this on low right now and let that oil start getting a little bit warm and cooking our onions down. Okay, so we've got our onions in our oil, and that's slowly getting warm. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take our squirrel and we're going to quarter him up. All right, so we're just going to pull him out onto the cutting board here, and this was a pretty nice sized male, and he's been cleaned up pretty good. Okay, and then as you're doing this, you just want to check, make sure you don't have any more hairs there. So you're not going to cook the whole thing up. All right, your biggest parts are going to be your back legs, your front legs, and then obviously the big center portion right here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip him over just like this. Okay, and we're all good. I'm going to get him out of the way, and we'll make our breading and batter. Okay, just checked our onions, and they're sizzling really good, and it's actually starting to create a nice aroma over there. Too bad you can't smell it from where you're at watching. But now I'm going to create the batter that I'm going to use to dip our squirrel in and then put it into the coating, the breading that we're going to be using. So this is another tip that I found on YouTube, and one of the things that I've seen people say, and I've never done this, so we're going to try it today, is mayonnaise along with the egg. Whenever you do like a batter, you're creating an egg mix, and then you're dipping your whatever game it is that you're using into that egg mix and then into your flour. Well, by using a little bit of mayonnaise, it creates a little bit more of almost like a pastiness that will allow that breading that you're going to be using to stick to whatever it is that you're going to be breading. In our case, it's going to be our squirrel here. We're going to go with 1 egg. Make sure not to get any shells in. So here's what your batter is going to look like. Okay, and I'm just going with a light mayo there, but we're going to whip this up. Okay, so there's your batter. That's what it's going to look like. We're going to let that set off to the side here for a minute. And what we're going to do with this bowl is I'm going to take and we're going to make our breading. So we're going to go with some flour. Okay, and we're going to use just some regular 4C seasoned breadcrumbs here, okay, just to kind of give it a little bit of flavor. Okay. Okay, so there's your breading. A little bit of flour and 4C seasoned breadcrumbs. All right, so I'm just over here checking on our onions in our oil, and they are starting to get that golden brown look to them. And just creating a nice aroma. And again, this is just pretty much helping flavor the oil for when we put our squirrel in it. Onions are looking really good. So we've got our squirrel, and he smells really good. And the reason you want to age that squirrel for like a week or even 10 days if you can is it gets rid of a lot of that gamey taste, and even that, you know, that can turn people off. If you're not used to eating squirrel, it can be a little bit gamey. So when you age it like that, and with adding a little bit of extra seasoning like I did, it's going to help make that squirrel taste a lot better, and it'll cook a lot better for you. So what we're going to do now is we've got our squirrel here. We're going to place our squirrel into our batter, just like so. Quite a bit. We'll get the rest of it in here. Just like that. So we're just going to flip that around. And like I said, this creates a nice thick coat all over that squirrel. So your breading is really going to adhere to it really well. And it'll give it a good flavor with that mayonnaise that's in there. So then once we have it all coated up like that, we're going to start tossing him in to our breading, which is right over here. Okay, we'll set the batter off to the side, and we'll make sure that he is coated pretty good here. Just gonna mix everything around. Okay, and there's our squirrel all mixed up. I'm gonna get my hands clean just a little bit here, and then we'll head over to the oil. So I'm over at the oil. The onions are getting really done here now, which is fine. Again, lay a little bit of crisp to them. So we're going to start putting our squirrel into our oil and start to let that cook. So our squirrel's looking good. And what we want to do is we want to get one side cooked really well, get it nice and golden brown, and then we'll flip it again and get that other side cooking and get it golden brown there. But with this, we don't want it to get real dry and real tough, so we're going to cook it really slow on low heat here in this oil, and that's going to help keep that squirrel nice and tender, cook it really long for us, and it should fall right off and taste really good. So we're going to give it a little bit of time, and then we'll share with you the flip, and then we'll share with you when it's all time to eat. Okay, well, it's been a little bit. Our squirrel's cooking nice, and it's getting golden brown on that one side, so we're going to give it a flip and you let it start cooking and get that golden brown breading on the other side. Boy, that looks good. That's some good looking squirrel right there. Well, our squirrel's looking really good here. I think we're pretty good to plate it and let those oils soak out. Okay. Well, there's our squirrel. We're going to let that sit for just a little while, and we've got some soup, homemade chicken soup that we're going to be enjoying along with our fried squirrel. We'll see you at the table. So we're gonna get a couple squirrels plated here, a couple pieces of squirrel plated. I'll take, let's see, I'll take this one here and this one here. And we've got homemade chicken noodle soup that Teresa made. And we're just gonna enjoy some fresh squirrel. Comes right off. And actually you can probably just eat this just like a wing. That breading is really good. But let me tell you something. This is really, really good. I wish you were here to enjoy it with me. But if you like what you're seeing, as always, please click the subscribe button. Put a comment down below and give us a like. I'll share all the ingredients for everything that I use in the description of the video. We're gonna enjoy our squirrel and our homemade chicken noodle soup, and I'll see you next time.